Yeah,
Hey
because
guys, welcome back to the Passive Buddies podcast. And today we are going to be covering diversifying risk and building passive income. As usual, I have my co-host Brandon Duff here, who's obviously an expert in building passive income the boring way. And we're just going to get right into it. Brandon, how's things?
I am doing amazing. It is bright and early, 4 a.m. here. How are you, Bryan?
Yeah, do you know what, mate? Yeah, I'm good. I'm having a good week. It's bright here. It's not raining. So
Oh,
for the UK, mate, that's amazing.
well, that definitely is good. I mean, I like the rain, but a little bit of rain here and there is great. But if it's raining all the time, it can be a little bit dreary.
Yeah, mate, it's always a grey cloud. It's always raining, but that's okay. Good job of staying indoors.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. People always complain like, "Oh, why do you live in Texas? It's so hot. You have like 120 degree." I'm like, it's like I have to wear a sweater in my house every day because it's so cold. So I don't know why people complain. I mean, if you work from home, then you never really have to worry about those kind of weather conditions. So
No, it makes a big difference, doesn't it, actually? And one of the best ways to work from home is building passive income.
yeah, that's correct. And so we're going to be talking about diversifying risk and building some passive income. So when I first started getting into passive income, the first thing I got into was real estate. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of envision with passive income is you have to have real estate. Well, at least in the United States. I don't know if it's different in the UK because I know you guys have different laws with owning real estate, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. It doesn't seem as free flowing as it does in the US. They try and basically restrict us over here as much as they can. Obviously, you still get around it, but in the UK, they try and tax you a little bit more for having more real estate than obviously just being a real estate owner.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. So when I first got into it, I bought one rental property, and I thought that was because I was a personal trainer before, and I typically was like, well, I can't work all my life. I have to have something that is making me money or I can leverage so that it's buying me back my time. And so all my clients just had real estate. They could come train with me and afford me at $100 an hour, working at like 11 a.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. And they were able to come train with me at any given time. And I was like, how did they do that? And one, they had systems or a business where their business could run without them. And so that was passive income for them, but they also owned real estate. And so everyone I knew that had money had real estate. So that was like my first introduction to passive income. And so I ended up buying a single family home, and that single family home was I put down 20%. I don't know what it is in the UK, but in the United States, you can put down for a investment property is 20% down, and then you can leverage the other 80% through the bank. And in doing so, I was able to have my own first property. And so we're talking about risk and diversification here. And so when I got that first rental property, I'll actually tell you a story about our very first rental property. We went to take this, we were in California, the property was in Vegas and Las Vegas, Nevada. So it was about a 4-hour drive or about a 45-minute flight, hour and a half flight. I don't really remember. And when we went there, we had a tenant that we were meeting for the first time. It was our first rental property. We were super excited because we already had a tenant, and we went there and we showed them the place. They loved it. They told us this story where, that they're so thankful because her child's dad passed away and they had to move out of their apartment. So they needed a new place because they just didn't want that memory. And they were going to move into our rental property, and they were so thankful for us. And I was like, oh, it's, anything to do to help, and we were like, yeah, that's great. And so then that's what she was telling me, like the whole time we were driving there and talking over the last week about like what requirements do you need and all that fun stuff. And so when we finally showed up, she loves the apartment. She gets the keys, and we're going out to dinner, me and my wife. I think we were just dating at that time. And we go to dinner, and I get this call like halfway through our dinner, and it's the tenant. And she's like, Brandon, I'm so sorry, but my mom just went into the hospital. Are you guys still in town? Are you not? And I was like, well, we were about to leave, but we just need to go. We can come meet you, pick up the key, and we'll just call it like even. We'll just like even Steven. And so she was like, oh, that'd be great, because my mom just not passed, but is in the hospital. I have to drive all the way to California, I think. And I was like, oh, well, we're going to California too. And she's like, oh, that's cool, blah, blah, blah. And so we met up, and she gave me the key. And we go back to, it was at this time like 11 o'clock at night, maybe 11:30. And we weren't going to drive another 4 hours to go back to California. So we decided to get a hotel next to State Line. And so in doing so, I just had this weird feeling, like intuition in a sense. And I was like, something's not right here. Like, this just felt fishy. So I called the emergency locksmith. And the emergency locksmith, I said, hey, can you just change all the locks on the property? Because, I just would be great. And we just bought this house, and I feel we just toured it, but someone couldn't, they might've made a copy of the key, I don't know. And so they went out, and I showed them proof, and they changed all the locks. And then the next morning, I called them and I said, hey, can you give me the key? Yeah, come to the office, that's fine. So we came to the office, I went in, got the keys, went back to the house, and put the new key in the new lock, and it wouldn't go in. And I called the guy, and I was like, hey, are you sure this is the right key? Like, it's not working. He's like, yeah, I'm positive. I tried it myself, and it worked fine. And so I tried it again, because I was on my phone, and it still wouldn't go in. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. And then I look on the ground, and there's a broken key on the floor. And then I look into the lock, and there's a piece of a key. And so the woman that was going to rent our property was going to squat in our property. She thought we were going to leave for the week. She was going to move in. And unfortunately, we were able to change all the locks. But what she did, trying to get in, is she couldn't get in. So she broke the key into the lock so that we can access it. And we had to pay more money to change that out. And if she would have squatted, then I would have been shit out of luck, in a sense, until we went through the process of getting a squatter out. But if I only had that one property, and I would have been completely screwed, paying for the mortgage and paying for everything. And so I needed to diversify. So we ended up buying a second rental property, because if that was full, then at least I had another single family house to fall back on. And so that would give me, so I'd be paying the mortgage on one. And luckily, the second rental property that we bought pretty much paid for both mortgages. So that's how I diversified. And then I bought a 4-unit, which then gave me more kind of rents or more tenants to rent to, which then allowed me to have, like, I think it was both rental property, the 4-unit paid for all 6 rental properties. So if I had to, say, for instance, one of my tenants was squatting in the first rental property, I at least had 5 other properties that paid for all of them. And I didn't have any money coming out of pocket, because ultimately what you want to do is have your asset be a real asset. If that's stocks or a business or anything where the business is paying for itself, or the rental properties is paying for itself. So you're not taking any money out of pocket. And so a really good friend of mine, he told me, like, don't have all your eggs in one basket, try and diversify. We always hear that phrase, don't have all your eggs in one basket, because, say, for instance, when we went through that 2007, 2008 financial crisis, and the whole stock market crashed, and the whole everything crashed in a sense. Stocks, real estate, all that. If you had a great business that was still cash flowing, you could pretty much buy a bunch of real estate for cheap. That's not what we did, because I was still training at the time, and I was able to pick up properties in 2000, I think it was 15 or 16. But yeah, I mean, we try and diversify. We get into real estate. We're super into crypto now. Obviously, we have businesses, and then we can get into silent partnerships where we buy businesses and kind of just stay on the sidelines and just have like a paycheck come in. So there's all sorts of ways to diversify risk. But what about you? What are some of the things you do, or are you interested in when it comes to risk management or just diversifying?
So it was interesting actually listening to the rental story, because like, as much as obviously real estate is like, it's seen as like the golden egg, isn't it? It's like, if you can save up 20, it's, I think buy to let in the UK is like 25%. It's like, if you can save up 20% and then you can go buy a house and you can like produce cash, and yeah, perfect. Okay. But then what you've already identified is like, look, like any business, like there's risks. So like, obviously, although it's seen as like the golden egg, like obviously you were very quick on the mark and very lucky, like your intuition very saved you well, obviously, about that squatter, and sorted that problem out. But obviously, before you even got 1 month's worth of rent, it was a case of you had to change the locks twice.
Yeah.
Like, so already, you not only had to put your 20% down, you went through all your real estate fees, you had to put your locks down twice. You had to travel up to Vegas, obviously, to visit this person. Like, and it just goes to show, like, yes, obviously, real estate is a fantastic cash flow and asset, and it's basically seen as one of the best, especially because you can use your real estate as collateral to get loans to obviously go even further. And obviously, there's a whole strategy around that. But what you've done is obviously like just highlighted to everyone, which is really, really good. It's like, yeah, it's not 100% passive. There is things you're going to have to monitor. There is things you're going to have to do. Like there is risks, like with everything. So I like the fact that, like, because when you get on these podcasts, oh yeah, buy real estate, it's the best thing ever. And yeah, there's a hell of a lot of positives. But obviously there is a dark side, like everything. There's always a villain. And yeah, well played for catching that. In terms of diversifying risk for myself, I go more obviously the online route. So obviously I've got built up an agency that obviously builds the cash flow. So I've built up a business that then allows obviously that income to come through. And then from that, obviously, I've then gone and brought in and built up income streams within inside that business. So then we moved to like affiliate marketing, and we've got like cash flow in there. So not only have we got clients paying us, we've now got people who are using softwares that are now paying us, and those type of things. Then obviously you've got your standards, haven't you? You've got like your bit of stocks, bit of crypto, and all those type of things. And as you say, it's about like, the way I sort of see it is like, if you look at the passive income triangle as a model, like you've got like high ticket income at the top, and then compounding and recurring at the bottom. And the aim is actually to flip the triangle. So if you bring in some high ticket income, you bring in some surplus cash, because 9 times out of 10, like unless you cut all your expenses and live like a broke person, which is fine, like you haven't got surplus cash lying around, have you? Like you haven't got additional cash to go and put into these assets. So you have to go and create that cash. And that's where like an online business comes in. And that's where like an online business go, right, okay, so if it's an agency, whether it's affiliate marketing or whatever, like bringing in that basically surplus cash, which then will then feed the recurring income and the compound income. And then that allows you to spread out in 3 different places. And then obviously flip the triangle. So then the compounding income and the recurring income is actually higher than, say, for instance, your business income. And your business income stays at the bottom, but it's still like that 10, 20K. And it's about like identifying those different opportunities and identifying like what can be a recurring income, what can sit on the sidelines, what will bring you your surplus cash to then go and reinvest in crypto, in stocks, which are the easier things to go and get involved in, instead of obviously like, there is different ways obviously to get your deposit for your rental incomes. But obviously most people see the traditional way, don't they? Like save up your 20% or your 25% and then go get it. And that takes a lot of discipline that a lot of people haven't really got to start with. So obviously building those recurring incomes online, like obviously like like your stocks and shares, your crypto assets, and your affiliate commissions for software, stuff like that. That helps build it. Then you can use that money from the triangle and then go and get your real estate. And at least then you're not as, for instance, like when you started, like you had all that egg in one basket, and that's a big basket. That obviously that one house, that was
Right.
like, it's risky, isn't it? Like, especially with the situation you found yourself in, like this person like playing, oh my God, I'm so thankful, I'm so thankful, I'm so thankful.
Right.
And, oh, that's really, really nice. And then it's like, yeah, I'm thankful that you're gonna let me stay here for free. And
Yeah.
you're like, what? And that was obviously that's a big risk. It's obviously at least having the online ones that are easier to get into, easier to turn over. That then gives you that surplus cash to then go and get those rental properties, the golden eggs. But it doesn't leave you as risky, if that makes sense, because obviously not all people will have that like situation where no one needs to go change the locks. I can't believe she's done that in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty messy. Yeah, and we'll talk about we're going to be in a later episode. We'll be talking about the infinite money loop that I've created and how the wealthy continuously get wealthy. But I love that what you were saying is that you do have these different eggs. Like if you have real estate and then you have your business, you're able to leverage both of them. And I think that a lot of people think that once you like the hardest rent like to get into real estate is the first one. After that, it becomes super easy because we're able to leverage that property to, just like you said, borrow against it and buy more real estate. And then you can use your business to grow it, start hiring VAs like you've done. Take some of the time off of you, so you don't need to work on the basic things that anyone can really do. You can focus more on the high earning things, such as making sales, connecting with partners, doing podcasts like this to give value to your community. And then doing that allows more people to see your business, and it just becomes a kind of like a compound effect. And so that's why I love just in reality, just a bunch of different types of assets that make us money. I mean, you can do this with life insurance. You can do this with stocks, all the things that you said, where you can use stocks because it's easy to get in. You put in your money and then you can get, what's it called? Dividends. And that's kind of like rent in a way. So there are all sorts of ways. And then obviously you can use your stocks, you can leverage your stocks, borrow against them. So there's all sorts of ways. Obviously, this is not financial advice, nor is this a financial podcast. So do your own research. But yeah, I'm always into getting into, once you start making enough money, it becomes really just risk management. Because when we got into I think it was our first 4-unit property, we couldn't drive we just didn't have the time to manage all those properties. We didn't have time to show them, especially when they were stayed over. So we just hired a property manager, and it was completely hands off for us. And then we were just collecting rents at that time. And once you get enough cash flow from real estate, I mean, hiring a property manager like you do with business, a VA, where they can take the whole business off your hands in a sense, and are able to pretty much buy back your time. For us, it was 8% of the rents. And I thought that was perfect. I mean, at the time I was like, man, that's a lot. But then after realizing that it's buying back my time is when it's really important, because 8% is very little in the grand scheme of things, but buying back 24 hours in a day is like life-changing.
What I like, sorry to jump in, was like,
no, you're good.
It's a case of, and you know what, a lot of people, like I've been chatting to clients and stuff like that, when it's like, right, okay, say for instance, they're selling something on Amazon or whatever, and like they go to a fulfillment center and they're like, oh yeah, but we'll take 7%. It's like, fuck, I was like, I'm losing 7%, but you're not, like, you're gaining all of that time. And it's a case of like, if you're not going to do anything with that time, like in terms of add more value, like make more money or like enjoy your life, then yeah, don't lose that 8%. But like, if you are going to take that time and then go and leverage it, like leverage that time you've got, it's not 8% wasted. And what you've done is obviously you've now got a cash flow and asset that, and what I like about the 8% rather than a flat fee is like, it's a case of, well, you need to make sure that person pays his rent, otherwise you're not getting your 8%. And it puts that like, well, you need to make sure you do your job, so obviously you get paid, then I get paid, rather than, oh yeah, here's your flat fee regardless, doesn't matter.
Right.
And obviously again diversifies risk on that income. It's like, right, okay, yeah, obviously because he's managing that, he's making sure we get paid instead of you doing all the chasing. Like obviously if you've got an online business, or you've got any business at all, chasing invoices is an absolute ball ache. Like trying to chase those payments, like, hey, come on. Like, and that's why, like, obviously in our agency, we always get paid up front. It's like, listen, and people go, well, but you haven't done the work yet. Or, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to focus on chasing an invoice, or do you want me to focus on the results? And straight away, it's like, well, I want the results. Well, pay me then.
Right.
And it's a case of like, so we get that up front. Obviously, that goes slightly to the side, but at least what you've done there is like, with that, hey, you'll get 8%. You've diversified and gone, right, okay, well, you do your job, you get paid, then I get paid, rather than you doing all that chasing as well. Like, that's an absolute ball ache. So don't look at the 8% as 8%. Look at what you can use with that 8%. Look at that time that you get back. And it's always more time than you think.
Yeah. And not only that, I mean, if you think about it, it's a write-off. Like that 8% that I am paying my property manager, I just write off on taxes. So it just reduces my income tax, which reduces my tax liability, which is diversifying my risk. So it just makes it a lot easier to justify that 8% when you can write it off, and it's giving you back your time, and you're being able to then take that time and diversify in other things. So it's just a great way to diversify, I guess.
Yeah, and you say it's buying that back that time. And like, what do you do with that time when it comes around? Like, so you then went and moved online, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, so you went and moved online. You've done the software thing, which we covered in one of the last episodes. I think it might have been the last episode. So if you haven't watched like how to basically money run creating a software company with very little hands-on, that episode is definitely a winner. So you went online and started creating Diversifying Risk. You built all that software company, and then it's like, right, okay, now is basically you've got another property manager or running that that piece of property, which is that business. Right. And then you've gone again, right? Okay, now you're into the play to earn games. You've got VAs who play the play to earn game. So now it's a case of, if one's going down, like for instance, I remember an episode a couple of weeks back, and you just lost 40k on Luna.
Yeah.
And the best thing about that, in terms of how we link it back now, is you were a little bit bummed, but you're like, okay, cool. Like, by diversifying yourself in your crypto assets, in your software company, in your real estate, when those hits do happen, because they do, like, you cannot get through life like where it just permanently goes up. You will have an issue, something will happen. And this is where diversifying risk, like Brandon obviously lost 40 grand on that Luna project at that time. And if you want to know how he recovered and what his new strategy was, go back and listen to that episode, one of the crypto episodes. But you lost 40k. You were still up at 4 a.m. in the morning. You were still jumping on a podcast, and you were still smiling because you literally diversified. It's like, right, okay, I've lost 40k here, but I'm making that here. And it's like, It's okay. Like, you weren't scared, you weren't concerned. I know people who will lose like 1 client, 2 clients, and they'll just go, no, like what? Like the life's falling apart where you lost 40k on a crypto project. And, okay, cool. So I'm just going to do this.
Right. When you think about it, you talk about the 1 client and 2 client, you always see those people say, like, would you rather have 1 client paying you $20,000, or would you rather have 100 clients paying you $100 or whatever the math comes out to? And that's like little rental properties in a sense to me, because if you have 1 client who decides to leave, your business is gone. But if you have 10 clients or 100 clients that are paying you, I mean, obviously you have to figure out what your cutoff is, because if you have 100 clients and it's taking up a bunch of your time, then it's really might not be worth it. Where if you have that many people, you might want to up your prices and get it down to 10 clients, because say, for instance, you 10x your price and you cut it down to 10 clients, you still do have 10 clients, but you're doing 10 times less of work for the same amount of pay. So it just really depends on how you structure your business, how you structure just anything. Like you're in control of what you charge, your business, your financial situation, and you can change it at any time. And so I always think of how can I get paid the most for as little work as possible, or how can I offset it to someone else, like a VA, for instance, or like you said, our play to earn games, that they play the games and buy back my time so that I can work on something else. And I kind of call, what do I call, like micro businesses in a sense, because I'm making small businesses that I can work on them and grow them up, and then consistently leverage them to buy into new assets or new businesses or whatever the case. And then again, that's diversifying my risk. That's allowing me to leverage other things. And like I plugged earlier, we will be going over a video or a podcast about what I've created, which is called the Infinite Money Loop. So you definitely want to tune in for that. But any last little tidbits of information that you want to drop before we end this podcast?
Do you know what? I think it'll be more about, obviously we've covered like a little bit of strategy, we've covered a little bit of tactic, and like this is like the main thing about this. It's your mindset and your ability to sit back and look and go, right, okay, I've got this here, but what if? Right, okay, so for that what if, let's create this. Like for that what if, let's, like, as you say, like, it's like life's a game of chess, isn't it? You literally, you're moving your pieces, you're playing tactics, and it's just going, right, okay, when those setbacks happen, like, okay, yeah, deep breath, put your tank top on, and let's go again. Just having that mindset to go, it's okay, I'm gonna be fine, but this is how I'm gonna solve the problem, then create the what if to protect the problem, like to protect it not happening again. And just remember, you're always playing chess, and the better you get at it, obviously, the more money you will make, and the more the hits won't bother you anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, if you are diversified and you understand risk tolerance and you understand cash flow, because if you have cash flow is king. That protects your assets, and you're not over leveraged, then you'll do really well in life.
100%. Final thoughts? Good.
I think we killed this one.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for listening right till the end, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.